Because Donald Trump is a wannabe authoritarian, we knew that many in the first Trump administration weren't going to be returning for the second Trump administration. And those are the people that we could actually use right about now. Those are the types of people that would actually put a check on some of Trump's worst impulses. People like Milley or Esper, maybe even McMaster. But Donald Trump has actively tried to kick those types of people out of the party because they were not sufficiently loyal to dear leader. So the people we do have returning from the first Trump administration are the crazy ones. They are the people who have been able to pass Donald Trump's loyalty test. And probably near the top of that list is somebody like Russell Vought. Russell Vought is a crazy person. He is one of the main architects of Project 2025. He is a Christian nationalist, a self-professed Christian nationalist. And he has some wild ideas about how this country should be run. And he has some fringe legal theories to basically not follow the law. And he is currently going through confirmation hearings, and he's proving to the American people that, yep, I'm here. I'm still crazy. Here he is talking about how we should kick people off their health care to force them back to work.
Is really, well, not helpful. Now that your idea failed so miserably, are you going to advocate for it again?
You know, Senator, one of the major legislations that our side has been very proud of since the 1990s was the impact of welfare reform in the 1990s. It led to caseload reductions, people getting off of welfare, going back into the workforce. And we think that type of thinking should be applied to other federal programs, and it's informed not only Medicaid but other programs to be able to encourage people to get back into the workforce, increase labor force participation, and give people, again, the dignity of work.
And you believe cutting off health care encourages people to work when they need to get better health in order to work? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's right. It doesn't make any sense. If somebody needs health care so they can get better, so they can return to work, you probably don't want to remove that person's health care. But this is another fundamental problem with the conservative movement. They think that people in poverty have some sort of moral failing, and they want to punish these people. So if Russell Vought can remove their health care to show that they are not deserved of health care if they are not able to work, then I guess that's what he wants to do. Even though we have been shown over and over and over again that that just does not work. When somebody is removed from or has their health care removed, and then they are unable to get healthy so they can return to work, you just make that person more vulnerable. And it is crazy to me that it is 2025 and we still have people like Russell Vought advocating for shit like this. Absolutely wild to me. This next clip I want to show you is Russell Vought talking about how he wants to traumatize federal workers. No, I'm not mincing words, but he's asked about this in his confirmation hearing. Let's go ahead and take a look, and then we'll discuss on the other side.
We want the bureaucrats to be traumatically affected. We want, when they wake up in the morning, we want them to not want to go to work because they are increasingly viewed as the villains. We want their funding to be shut down so that the EPA can't do all of the rules against our energy industry because they have no bandwidth financially to do so. We want to put them in trauma.
What is wrong with these people? We want to put them in trauma because they are the villain. These people are nuts. Federal workers are not showing up every day to make Russell Vought's life worse. But if you are living in the MAGA conspiracy bubble, you probably think that federal workers are out to get you. This is another huge part of the MAGA psyche. They think that the government is out to get them. They are always the victim. They are always under attack. They are always being persecuted. But to say that you want to traumatize these people is a bit deranged, even for somebody living in the MAGA conspiracy bubble. That's just being an asshole to be an asshole. So here Tim Kaine is asking him about those statements.
We're talking about the federal workforce.
I was talking about the bureaucracy that I experienced and that have
at the federal level.
At the federal level.
You were not talking about state
I can't
employees.
speak. I have no experience with the state.
You were not talking about local employees.
Was not.
Your mother was a public school teacher, correct?
Yes, Senator.
So you were talking about you want the federal workforce to be traumatized.
Bureaucracies.
I like a lot of presidents. I'm a Lincoln fan. Are you a Lincoln fan?
Yes, Senator.
Lincoln spoke to a nation at war, and he said, with malice towards none and charity towards all. And he was saying that to the North and the South. He didn't say, we want you to be traumatized. He was a bridge builder and a unifier, and that's what public servants should be. They shouldn't gleefully be wishing trauma on people who are trying to serve their fellow man.
And that is exactly right. Do you guys know a school teacher, maybe a local government worker, maybe even a federal worker? You know that for the most part, these are good, solid people, and they're showing up to work every day to serve the American people. I know that's probably foreign to somebody like Russell Vought and the rest of the MAGA movement because all they want to do is serve me, myself, and I. I'll get mine. I don't care about you. So maybe it seems a little weird that we might have federal workers that show up every day to serve the American public. This is just absolutely despicable thought processes. And then they use these conspiracies about these federal workers to pursue crazy policy ideas. These are the people that Trump is bringing back. And I wanted to show you this next clip because Tim Kaine has become pretty much an all-star of these confirmation hearings. I think he's doing an excellent job of pointing out some of the extremism that is running through the veins of these cabinet nominees. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. This is Tim Kaine listing off some of Russell Vought's very extremist views.
From the fullness of the heart, the mouth speaks.
I'm not going to answer questions about the Center for Renewing
You
America's
propose
products.
deep cuts to Pell Grants. Is helping kids pay for college and helping their families, is that woke and weaponized?
Again, I'm not here to defend the Center for Renewing America's
I get it
budget.
that you're not here to defend that work product, and I'm going to understand why. You propose deep cuts to Medicaid for millions of low-income families. Why is that woke and weaponized? You propose undermining health insurance. Why is that woke and weaponized? Eliminating tenant-based rental assistance. Why is that woke and weaponized? Eliminating the low-income housing energy assistance program. This was all in your document about ending woke and weaponized government. Okay, let's see. We want to traumatize federal employees, and then we want to take all these programs that help everyday people who are struggling and cut them because they're woke and weaponized. Those are your words, not mine.
Tim Kaine has become particularly good at this. And I think these types of views should be called out, especially for somebody like Russell Vought. He wants to be the next OMB, the Office of Management and Budget, which means after Congress allocates funds to any particular thing, it is Russell Vought's job to dole out those federal dollars. So it is very important that we understand his views on these types of programs. And if he's going to play games with allocating these dollars the way that Congress intended them to be allocated. And the next and last clip I'll show you goes right in line with that, because Russell Vought will not commit to following the law, which would be pretty standard stuff for somebody who wants to serve in our government.
Well, I think that's irresponsible, and I'm going to challenge it, so therefore I don't have to follow it. The impoundment law is the law. Will you follow it or not? You can say that we're going to look at it and might challenge it in court, but it is the law today. Will you follow that law? Ask director.
Senator, the reason why the president ran on this is that 200 years of presidents had this
You're
authority
telling me why
to manage
you don't agree with the
taxpayer
law, but the
resources.
law is the law. Will you follow the law?
And what he found in the first term was that we had agencies that would push out spending at the end of the fiscal year.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to take my time back for a minute and just tell all of us. We work all the time on appropriations where I am ranking member to come to an agreement Senator Graham, you and I work on agreements and we decide, yeah, okay, we'll both vote for this. We have an agreement. How can we ever have an agreement in the future if a president, whoever he or her may be in the future, has say over that, saying, nope, never mind, I'm not going to pay for this part of it.
And she is exactly right about that. And just to break down what they're talking about here is the idea of impoundment. Okay? The Constitution says that the Congress has the power of the purse. So they decide how tax dollars are spent. Then it is the executive branch's job to make sure that that is executed. Okay? So impoundment is when the president says, nah, I don't agree with Congress here, so I'm going to stop those funds from being spent how Congress intended them to be spent. Russell Vought should not be playing games with impoundment. This is what Trump tried to do in his first term if he didn't agree with how certain dollars should be spent. But by impounding those funds or not using those funds how Congress intended them to be used, you are breaking the law. The law says that federal dollars need to be spent how Congress intended them to be spent. And if somebody like Russell Vought and Donald Trump work together to stop those funds, they are breaking the law. If Donald Trump wants to put forward legislation that gives him more power to impound certain funds, then they can do it that way. And for Russell Vought to not commit to following the law that is currently on the books should be disqualifying. This is what we have to look forward to, folks, in a second Trump term. He is bringing the crazies back. He is bringing the people back who can't even commit to following the law. And this is another huge gripe I have with the MAGA movement. They pretend that they're for the Constitution. They pretend that they're for the rule of law. But when a law does not suit them, they try to go around it. They try to not follow it. And that is not what rule of law looks like. That is not what constitutionality looks like. These people are only interested in following the law or the Constitution if it helps them get ahead, and nothing else. Otherwise, they are more than willing to break the law to get what they want. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That is what they are talking about here. This is what Donald Trump tried to do in his first term. I guarantee he is going to try to do this in his second term. He is trying to consolidate as much power as possible into the executive branch. And that should be terrifying to each and every American, whether you are a MAGA adherent or not. We have separations of powers for a reason, and we should adhere to that structure. And people like Russell Vought give me no confidence at all that they aren't going to be playing games with our government. So I will leave it there for now. If you guys got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. We need to build something here on the left that can combat the piles of crap that is the right-wing media ecosystem. So if you do appreciate the work I do here, please do remember to subscribe. If you want to see another crazy pick for the Secretary of Defense, you want to see Pete Hegseth's confirmation hearing, go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.